My name is Tom Ross, and I've asked Sharif to share this video prior to the panel discussion so that I can lay out the idea. But I've also asked him to share it with the potential panel members prior to doing the show because some of them may not want to discuss this type of thing. And that's because WTEF is a serious forum to discuss serious futurist issues with experts that drill down deeply into these topics and make sense of them. And so I don't want Sharif or the fellow panelists to be seen as weirdos by association with me and these topics that I like to talk about. So I think the soberest way to convey the topic that I want to talk about is the simulation hypothesis. And that's the idea that we are living in a simulation, whether it's a computer-generated simulation, an organic construct, or based on some technology that we avatars can't even conceive of. And so the idea of a simulation hypothesis is growing, specifically in the philosophical and scientific communities, because it answers so many questions that our physics and our philosophies just can't seem to answer. And now, the idea of the simulation hypothesis has risen in popularity in modern culture, thanks to movies like The Matrix and many others. But it's certainly not a new idea. In fact, Plato in the classical Greek era used his allegory of the cave to make the case that yes, we are living in a simulation, that he considered us prisoners in that cave. Now, prior to that, Buddhism espoused the idea that of Mara, the Lord of Illusions, and they saw Mara as a demonic figure that was creating this illusion to either hide our divinity, to keep us separate from our divinity, this type of thing. Now, if you've already dismissed this idea because you're not interested, you're a Christian and you're not interested in Buddhism or Plato or anything that predates Jesus, you're not off the hook either, because the first simulation hypothesizers in the West were the Gnostics of the 1st and 2nd centuries AD. And just like Plato had his warden and the Buddhists had Mara, their demonic lord of illusions, the Gnostics had their villain. It was the Archon. And the Archon are the minions of this lesser god, Yaldabaoth, the demiurge. So this simulation story has been passed down through virtually every culture in every age. And from the Anunnaki of the Sumer to Mr. Smith in the Matrix. And this is why I think we need to start paying attention to this pattern, to this story, and take it seriously. Now, I've chosen the Gnostic versus Archon gameplay scenario because that resonates with my cosmology and motivates me in certain ways. But every avatar out there can choose whatever gameplay scenario they want, whether it's the Hindu dramas or Plato's philosophies, or even the paradigm of psychology, where the Archon is nothing more than our lizard brain. So whichever gameplay you decide to play, I contend it's time to play. And with so many serious thinkers taking this idea seriously, and now that we have this global language to communicate about this, namely video game lexicon, I think it's time to ask ourselves, why are we still playing along? Why are we avatars still subject to the rules of this game? And maybe the gameplay has changed. Maybe the object of this game has changed to see which avatars can break the code. Well, whatever's going on, it's important to now take this idea seriously, do what we can to break out of this prison, to break out of this illusion, to escape the cave. And so that's what I plan on doing for the rest of this avatar's life points, is to make this case and to make it in the language that I understand best, the Gnostic language, me versus the Archon. And so that's also why I wanted to lay this out ahead of time, because there's some very serious thinkers on this forum that may not want to get into this stuff, and I understand that, and I appreciate that and I respect that, which is why I'm doing this video. So if you are seeing this video, it means that Sharif has decided to be a game boss and allow this discussion to go forward. And I want to thank him for allowing me to do this, and thank the panelists that decide to participate. Because for me, this is probably the most important understanding of my life. And I think it's a very, if nothing else, it's a great thought experiment to get us to understanding the nature of our reality. And so thanks again, Sharif and panelists.